welcome everyone. Welcome to the Profitable Practice. I am Diane Gehart, and I am so excited that you are here. We're going to be talking about how to avoid the top 5 money mistakes in mental health private practice. And I have trained thousands of folks over the years on how to start a private practice. And for most of us in mental health, it's a whole new kind of ball game, whole new kind of world. And most of us aren't trained on this in our graduate programs. It's really a whole new skill set that we need to develop. And my experience has been that the people who tend to be attracted to this profession, this is not our natural skill set. We are people. We're empathetic. We make people feel great, and we're just people, and we are not usually spreadsheet people. We don't like little columns and numbers and math, and and so when it comes to the business side, for many of us, we end up really hurting ourselves by not understanding the business side. There are a lot of legal requirements. There are a lot of really complex financial things, tax law. It is just, for most of us, not our happy place. And so I'm so excited that you are here today with me to kind of go over the real important elements of a private practice, because so many people start a private practice and they make so many financial mistakes that they really hurt themselves, sometimes by actually ending up, in an unprofitable practice where financially they can't even support themselves. More commonly, though, they're just missing out on so many opportunities to really make it profitable. So today, that's what we're going to be talking about. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So I want to start by asking, what is your greatest challenge regarding money management in private practice? And if you haven't started yet, your challenge is to just even know the lay of the land, and we'll definitely be covering that. If you are in private practice or running your small business of some kind, please put that comment in the chat, and I'm going to do my best to get to that as we go through today. So let's see what we got here. Okay. Excellent. Insurance. So dealing with, I'm assuming the insurance of your clients. So yeah, welcome everyone. So taxes, considering whether to start an LLC. John, we will be covering that today. Insurance versus not insurance. Investing. Ooh, I like that, Ashley. Could you put in what you mean by investing there? Yes, getting more clients and paying myself. Absolutely. Marketing. So, today we're going to be talking about the financial piece, but how to market, what your marketing budget is. Yes, there should be a budget for that too. To even put all of that into kind of understanding your business plan. So yeah, the marketing piece is really important. Getting cash paying clients. Excellent. So, yeah. So yeah, Chris is just saying, I'm trying to make as much money as my previous job, and that really does take having a budget, having a business plan, and understanding how all those pieces work. It is so easy. I've met people who will go and especially, I guess, pre-pandemic, went and invest in these really beautiful, fancy, offices, thinking, oh, I'm making so much more money per hour. This is going to be okay. But before you can even rent an office space or decide on, cash pay versus insurance pay, how to make all that work, you need to understand the financial realities. Yeah. Okay, Ashley's saying how to invest business money to someday not work hour for hour. Absolutely. So having a financial plan, and we're going to be talking about that today, because I know so many people in mid and late career who end up having not put enough money aside in retirement so that they can retire or invest, like Ashley is saying. And so that is so important. And so we will be talking about that today. And I'm so excited because there's just some new possibilities out there that there were never before. And so I'm excited to really talk about how to become financially whole as mental health professionals who have the opportunity to have our own small businesses. Yeah, so Neil's asking which software is best and affordable. We'll actually be talking about that too. So awesome. Okay. So, great. So let's go ahead and get started. So in terms of our agenda, I'm going to start with the very, very beginning with some private practice business basics. Now, I'm hoping if you have a private practice, you have all these basics covered. If you're new to this concept, thinking about getting a practice, this will be really helpful. And then I'm going to kind of go through the 5 most common financial mistakes that people make, mental health practitioners make when establishing and maintaining their private practice. And then we're going to look at your options for managing your finances as a mental health professional. And I'm super excited today because there is this all-in-one platform demonstration that is made for small business folks like private practices that really help with all of the tax headaches, the retirement, being able to make a living. And you're going to see the coolest financial dashboard in the world. I wish I had this for every area of my financial life. And so will actually have a live demonstration of this that, really helps illustrate how to wrap your brain around the financial realities of a private practice. And if you can understand this, if you already have a practice, it's going to really make it clearer what you need to be doing. And if you haven't started yet for your financial practice, this is going to really help you set yourself up for success. So we're going to have a live demonstration of this, and I am an affiliate partner. I am so excited about this new platform. It's totally free. It's unbelievable, this resource. I am super excited about it. Mostly because it just makes the financial realities of a private practice crystal clear, and it allows you to achieve both your business goals as well as your personal goals. So we'll have a live demonstration and a Q&A session at the end. So let's get started. So I do need to say, we will be talking about money. As you know, I'm a licensed mental health professional. I am not a CPA. I do not have a degree in finances. I'm not a financial planner or a financial advisor. But we will just be talking about the basics of financial realities of a mental health practice. And you do need to talk to your own tax professional and financial advisors, to get, your advice to make sure that everything is working correctly for whatever state or country you live in. And also, most of what I'll be talking about is based on US tax law. And if you're from another country, you want to just kind of get a sense of how similar or dissimilar you might be from these United States laws. But most countries will have something parallel to what I am discussing, because most countries also have taxes. How your taxes work and the percentage will vary. So let's get started with private practice business basics. Sorry, this is my issue with Canva. So the first thing to really wrap your head around is that if you decide to go into private practice, you are running a small business. It is a business. There are legal requirements, the same as other legal and sometimes higher, right? Other businesses. There are incredibly complex tax requirements, and there are financial requirements. And so oftentimes those of us in mental health, we're like, oh, I'm going to do this private practice. I'm this, big-hearted person who's caring for the world and handling, mental health crisis that is so important. Oftentimes the business realities are like, yeah, they're kind of this afterthought on the side. And that really can put you into some terrible positions. I know many people who didn't pay careful attention to these business practices and either find themselves in trouble sometimes, very often with the IRS in the United States with taxes. Around the taxes, they end up in a huge deep hole that takes years or decades to get out of. I have seen that. You can end up in legal trouble, honest to God, and then financially, working far beyond when you expected to work because you didn't plan for your retirement. And so running a small business is not for the faint of heart. And it really does have this whole other skill set that most of us are not naturally good at. I will just say that. And prefer to avoid, quite frankly. So the first thing to know is that when you run your own private practice, there is a legal requirement that you have what's called a business license. So you will have your mental health license or associate's license, and you have to have a business license. And at least in the United States, that tends to be run through the city government. Your state could be different, but where I've lived in California, it's run through the city because we have city governments, and I guess there could be counties or states, but you need to make sure you are legally allowed to run a business, but for a private practice. Now, in the US, we have two basic options. One is to be what's called a sole proprietor, where you're using your personal tax identification number, and you're kind of just an add-on to your regular tax documents, or you can be a corporation. And so this is what's normally called an LLC, or professional corporation. So the thing with a sole proprietor is that it's just the default. It's easy. It costs less to set up. It's easy to set up. It's kind of the default setting. After you get your tax license through the city, if you don't do anything else, you have what's called a sole proprietor. However, there are fewer tax write-offs, and you have more personal liability, meaning if someone sues you, they can actually have access to your personal assets, okay? So if you have a private practice that's more than just, whatever, one night a week, or one Saturday, half a day a week, where some people work full time and they have this tiny little private practice, maybe keep it as a sole proprietor. But in most cases, do talk with your tax consultants. It is worth taking some money and investing in creating a corporation. It usually costs a few $1,000s, and in today's online world, you can get it for not too much. But you do have to file a separate tax return for your business. And so there are some ongoing costs, but usually it's a much better tax shelter. I was really shocked once I incorporated how much I saved on my taxes, and it's a better liability shelter. So a corporation's its own entity. And so if someone's, if you're working under your corporation, your personal assets like your home and your family assets are just more protected. And just so you know, in some states, you can mental health professionals can open an LLC. In other states like California, we only have the option of creating what's called a professional corporation. And so the professional corporation is attached to a medical license of some kind, and it's just got different liability laws because you are a professional and you have all that professional liability. They're held to a slightly higher standard than an LLC. So again, you need to look at your local laws to see which one is even an option for you, but make sure you do the correct one. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Yes, someone is asking, is this for when you're licensed? In most states, you can only do a corporation and have a private practice, well, as a licensed mental health professional. So again, you have to look at your local, state or country laws to see when, given your license level and type of license, you're able to open a corporation and what that might look like. I will just say, I wish I opened my corporation sooner than I did, because I was surprised at, how much it really helped save me money in the end. Okay, so now I just want to kind of go over in the US, but in every country in the world, I promise you, they're collecting taxes. As far as I know, I don't know of any government that does not collect taxes. So, but there is shocking number of taxes. And I'm so glad I had a CPA, guide me through all of this, because there's federal income tax. So in the US, there's, that's 25% of your adjusted income on average. So that's a lot. So let's say you're taking in, I don't know, we're just going to use a round number, like $100 per hour, if that's your fee. So $25 of that goes straight back to the US government. Now you do get to adjust the income, so it's maybe not off every dollar, but just keep that number in mind, because most of the time when people start seeing what people are making in private practice, like, oh my God, this is incredible. I'm going on vacations, buying houses, boats, and cars. I'm like, yeah, slow it down, slow it down. You can just see that numbers is pretty high. There are state income taxes that can range from 0 to 14.4%. And I'm in California, so we're on the higher end of that scale. There is a city business tax you pay every year, at least where I live, because we have very high state income tax. Our city tax, business tax is quite low where I live. So And then this was the shocker for me. There's something called a self-employment tax. Welcome, at least in the United States, where it's another 15%, in Social Security, Medicare. Um, so there are a lot of different types of taxes in terms of that need to be paid. And then you have, but the beautiful thing is, you're going to pay taxes on your, not every dollar that comes in. You don't pay, so what you're going to have this gross income that's coming in, and then you pay all your business expenses. So this is a real big difference between being an employee and being a business owner. So you're going to take off all of these different things these business expenses are considered tax deductions. So you only pay on whatever is left after you pay for all your business expenses. But you can see there's a lot here. Credit card processing, if you're going to use credit cards, 3%, of what you make. So if you're bringing in $100, immediately you start with $97 per hour, okay? But your office space and everything it costs to be a professional. I mean, that's even if you're an employee, that's usually 5 to 10% of your income is still going back to maintain being a professional. Obviously, advertising, technology. If you do have a home, you can actually write off the percentage of your home used for business. And so, so where where your computer station is, if you have a separate, I now have a separate telehealth room that I'm using just for my telehealth. I have a lot of books and so I actually write off all the space from my bookshelves. I used to have filing cabinets in the good old days before we had online records. So any part of the square footage of your home used for business, you can write that off, which is kind of cool. Business meals and travel. So anytime you're driving to the bank, going to, to a store to pick something up, going to lunch, going down to the airport for a business conference, you can write off all that mileage. Your professional services, like your, accountants and attorneys and virtual assistants. So any money you're spending on the business, you get to write that off, which means you got to track it all, which is a lot of work, which is what we're going to be talking about today, because a lot of folks don't do that well. Then if you hire others, right, this is real important to understand. There are two ways to hire someone in the United States. One is to hire what's called a contractor. It's a 1099 is our tax. You'll hear the 1099 contractor, because that is the tax form in the United States. And so and then the other option is to truly employ someone. It's a much more complex process. So hiring someone as a 1099, if you're going to spend over $600 a year, at least this is being filmed in 2024, you have to fill out tax paperwork. So if you're going to hire a virtual assistant, let's say, or a research assistant, and you're going to pay them more than $600, you need to fill out tax forms to, collect their tax ID number. And then in January, you need to send them a tax document that shows that you paid them $2,000, $10,000, whatever it was that year. And you also let the IRS in the United States know that they were paid this much money, so the IRS knows that they should expect to see this income on their tax return. But contracting can only be used for certain types of hires. So it's usually for short-term projects, or if someone has more than one client sort of thing, or it's more limited. This isn't their, it's just a limited number of hours. So employment, though, is when you have someone working 30, 40 hours a week, most weeks, so that they're really not working for anyone else but you. And what happens then is that, so it's not like a side hustle. It's not one of their multiple people they have worked for or could be working for. But once you hire, there are additional expenses beyond their hourly rate. And often this is just good to know as an employee. Sometimes you're like, how come, my client's paying $100 per hour, but I'm only getting $20 per hour. My employer's taking it all, right? There's actually a lot of money that goes into hiring someone. And in a state like California, we have a lot that goes in, additional expenses that go into hiring. So you've got to pay a portion of their taxes on top of that. You've got to withhold their taxes. You've got to pay workers' compensation, unemployment taxes. So this can average around 7%. So if you're paying someone, $30 an hour. So you're on top of that $30, you're going to pay, at least 7% on top of that. Oftentimes there are healthcare benefits that becomes very costly. That can be up to 50% more. So if you're paying $30 per hour, you're getting paid $30 per hour and getting healthcare. Your employer could easily be spending, $12 to $15 on top of that to give you your healthcare. And you typically are going to need a CPA. For most of us, we need a CPA to handle this, additional software. It's, just even the time and investment to calculate all of this. And then you got to send in all the taxes. It's a lot of additional expense to hire someone beyond just the price of what you're paying them per hour. So for most of us, for our virtual assistants, because, in a private practice, it's not that much. You'll be using a contractor, or if you're just using a consultant to help even put up your website or whatever, it'll be less. But if you have someone sitting at a front desk in your office for 20, 40 hours a week, you're going to be looking more at employing that person. So just other things to be aware of in terms of financial requirements. One of the first things I try to teach people, one of the first mistakes most people don't realize, is that you need to really separate out your personal and your business account finances. So you should have a entirely separate set of personal banking accounts, credit cards, savings. All of that should be totally separate from your business world, which has its own checking accounts, savings accounts, and credit cards. Okay, those worlds should be totally separated out. Setting aside money for estimated taxes, if there's one thing you get from this workshop, it's hopefully you're going to learn, oh my goodness, I need to take the estimated taxes very seriously. We'll be talking more about that. Budgeting, really having a solid business budget is important. Saving for large expenses, like when you have to buy a computer every few years. Saving for times when business is slower, like if you are sick, right? Your clients are sick, you go on vacation, you take time off for the holidays, you have to plan for all of that in mental health. So if you're going to have your own business, you need to have this savings for when things happen, right? And then having, enough insurance to cover you in case things happen as well. So both your business insurance, but also, considering things like disability, your long-term healthcare issues. So really making sure that you're going to be, safe and whole, whatever happens, because you're not an employee someplace else. So let's look at the 5 most common mistakes. So mistake number 1 is not having a financial plan. So if you've got a private practice, you're going to work on this after we're done. If you're starting one, you want to have a financial plan. You need to know how much income do you need to be making to live off of your private practice. How much profit are you going to be needing? What type of expenses can you anticipate? And putting all of that down so you make sure that this is viable for your life, and it may or may not be. Just because it sounds like a lot of money is going to be coming in, you need to have a business plan. And so you need to, set your fee based on what you need, based on this business plan. So you shouldn't be pulling your fee out of this, the hat or the sky, or, you really want to make sure that the fee you're establishing fits into this overall plan. You should not be pulling your number of your fee, how much you're going to, your rent is going to cost, what type of trainings you're going to be doing. All of this needs to be in a great big business plan, and also having a plan for growing your business. Also planning for leaner times. So you need to have, annual and 5-year plans that you're tracking to ensure that you end up with a profitable practice. See, so the next thing, and closely related to this business plan, once you have a big overall picture of the plan, you need to create a budget, because that is another mistake I see people. And you're going to have you should have a different business budget from your personal budget, right? So these are 2 different budgets, and make sure, you should be working on those on an ongoing basis. So you need to have what your projected income is, as well as your projected expenses. And please don't start renting office space or signing up for software until you know what this is, right? So without a budget, you're going to grossly underestimate your expenses, and you are going to wildly overspend. I promise you, because when you start looking at your income as a business compared to your income as an employee, you're like, oh my God, I'm going to be so rich. Slow it down, slow it down. You can make a lot more money, it's true, in private practice, but most of us grossly overestimate, and it's easy to overspend. So, and if you are the sole income, you really need to be looking at your taxes. You need to be thinking, like, especially in the US, the cost of healthcare out of pocket can be quite high. you know, um, so looking at all of that, making sure you're covered in cases of disability, other types of insurance, and then making sure you have really robust short-term savings. This is another huge mistake, mental health practitioners. It doesn't seem like by default, most of us are savers. We tend to be more spenders, is my observation. So making sure if you're going to be in private practice, you have to be healthy and able to perform psychotherapy to have an income. So making sure that you are set up financially, if anything happens to you health-wise. And then retirement. This is another area, at least in the United States, I think it's well documented. Most Americans aren't saving as much. But I think people who own small businesses it's even easier because you don't have an employer who's pulling it out. You have to pull it out. And so there's less incentive than if you're, let's say, at a business that's large enough to have a 401(b) and they're kicking money in, you have some incentive there. But even then, most people still aren't investing in their retirement. But it's essential you do that as a small business owner. And so we're going to talk about some incredible tools to make that super easy and motivated. That is what I'm so excited about with what we're going to be talking about today. So mistake number 3, no tax strategy. Boy, if I had $1 for every therapist I talked to who had no tax strategy and was just, blown away by what happened, after their first year of running a practice in terms of the tax bill they got, because they didn't put money aside on a regular basis for this. They didn't pay their quarterly taxes, and they ended up in a heap of trouble at the end. So one thing is making sure in terms of tax strategy, you need to have separate checking and savings for your personal versus your business, separate credit cards, debit cards to help you track. But you need to be tracking every business expense. And this can take a lot of time and energy. And thank God, I started doing this and we had to do paper receipts with a calculator 30 years ago. So over the years, there's been various digital interventions, and I'm so excited because you're going to learn today about how this can be automated for you. It's amazing because I spent so much time doing this when I first started. But you're going to have to track every single business expense, or you're going to be paying way too much in taxes. So this is really important to wrap your head around how you write off all those taxes and track them on a daily basis. So every piece of mail you send, every monthly, subscription to Zoom or your online telehealth platform, all that stuff, you got to be tracking, your cell phone bill for the business, every meal you have, every cup of coffee you have, right? You meet someone for coffee, that sort of thing. And so, and it can really cost you thousands and thousands of dollars that you lose by not tracking these deductions. So it's really important, not only that you need to do this to get clear on what, can be deducted, and then creating a streamlined system. And you'll see an incredible way to do this. And what I truly love about this, what we're going to show you today, is that it'll actually, this found software platform we have actually calculates for, each cup of coffee, how much money you just saved as a tax deduction. It's just so reinforcing. It just makes the, cognitive behavioral therapists are going to be so happy. Like, this is the best positive reinforcement you can find for saving money. Okay. So mistake number 4 is not tracking weekly. So really, you need to be tracking your business expenses very carefully. And to be doing this on a fairly regular basis, ideally every week. It will take, usually if you don't have an accurate budget right now, just know it'll probably take 3 to 6 months of tracking your expenses to really get an accurate budget and know where you're at. And then within 2 to 3 years, though, you will develop a very accurate annual budget, and you will know how, you're changing your fees, changing how many hours you work, how all of that, taking a longer vacation or a shorter vacation, all of that stuff. You're going to be able to really refine your business finances. And so you should have a date with your money, which means sitting down for, 30 to 60 minutes each week to really review your income, your expenses, and your budget. And so, and being able to track this, get a good sense of how it works, in your practice. Do clients disappear during the summer, and go up at various times? For me, the big months are almost always, September, October, January, February is the high times, a little bit lower in December, and for a couple months in the summer. So, just knowing how all of this ebbs and flows really helps you become successful at what you do. Otherwise, you're going to sit there and, calculate these pie in the sky, idealistic numbers that just don't materialize, and you will overspend. Okay. And then mistake number 5 is poor record keeping. So many people I know who have private practices do not have good record keeping. Most of us think of record keeping as keeping our client files, right? Maybe doing the insurance billing. But there's also, you have a huge amount of financial record keeping that needs to be going all year long. Saving the receipts for all of your tax deductible purchases, right? Just tracking all of that. So the first most important thing is tracking your deductions, thinking about that, and tracking that all year long. Because if you wait till the end of the year to try to figure out what were your tax deductible expenses, first of all, you're going to probably miss half of them, and you're going to have a very miserable set of weekends in the early part of the year. So another thing is not collecting tax information. So if you get to January and realize, oh my God, I paid these 3 people over $600, you didn't get their tax ID, didn't have them fill out the proper tax forms when you hired them, you're kind of behind an 8 ball, and you're really kind of, in trouble when it comes tax time. So you need to also be issuing all of these tax documents, whether it's an employee or to your contractors. So you really have to be on top of these sorts of legal tax documents. Otherwise, you're liable in a business way that most of us have never thought about when we entered this field. And then collecting fees. I actually think this is a very important issue for mental health, but making sure you're invoicing all your clients, making sure that people are paying, following up with their unpaid invoices. You never want to let a client become in debt to you. And so this is something where it's an ethical thing, but making sure you're at least sending out invoices to get paid in a timely manner, so that it doesn't disrupt actually the quality of care that you're offering your clients. Because you don't want to shift into a debtor relationship with your clients. Is almost like it's a type of dual relationship. So making sure that you're properly and fairly invoicing your clients to avoid that. So let's look at the 3 options for business management, managing your business finances, the 3 basic options that you have. So the first is what I would call the do-it-yourself option, where you're creating your business plan and budget, you're tracking it all yourself, you're managing all your own invoices and contractors or employees. You can do that with the right platforms, and you're manually tracking all your deductions. So this is really how I started. Certainly is the lowest cost option, but it does take a lot of time. It's time intensive to be doing all of this, and it does require good financial literacy. And so is an estimated 70% of people in the United States are not financially literate. And so running a business it's a legal endeavor. And so you want to make sure you understand both the business law as well as tax law when you're doing this. So it requires a bit more discipline and consistency. And you still need to have multiple software tools, at least. I mean, I guess you can still do it with a calculator. if you'd like, but certainly involving those sorts of tools, I think is really helpful. The next is to hire financial professionals. And, most of us will be hiring some financial professionals, at least for tax season, most of us do. But you can hire someone to help you put together a business plan and budget. Um, just managing. So that would be like a financial advisor helping you put the whole big picture business plan together. Looking at financial management, like a bookkeeper, and certainly end of year taxes, like an accountant. So you can hire multiple financial folks in a business like a private practice. So what's great is it takes less time and less financial knowledge. Someone else is doing the lion's share of it, but obviously you're hiring professionals. So it can get quite expensive to hire professionals, and it can be hard to find the right person. And so you may have to shop around to find someone who kind of gets your business, who really understands what you need as a private practitioner. So, so that is certainly part of the issue when hiring someone. And for many of us, this is just too cost prohibitive when we're getting started. And the third one is, using some of these new technologies. And I just learned about this incredible platform that actually integrates multiple different, what I used to have separate softwares for, that pulls all your financial stuff together. That, it separates out your financial businesses. It helps you set your goals and track your progress. And that's what this dashboard you're going to see in just a minute is just phenomenal. And I think we should all have this for every account we have. Unfortunately, we don't. But this really is a game changer to be able to understand in a simple way what is happening financially in your business. But tracking all of your expenses automatically once you get it set up, understanding your business cash flow, having those tax deductions just easily and quickly organized for you. It becomes automated once you set it up. My favorite thing here is getting real-time tax estimates. So once, you've programmed in, how what the basic plan is and how it all works, what the estimates are, in real time, you will get like, this week, you need to put this much money aside for your tax estimate. Oh my God, I used to spend $2,000 at the end of the year to get that from my CPA. This can be done for free for you, free. These real-time tax estimates. The stress it relieves is without words. I cannot tell you, for those of us, if you've had a private practice and you've underestimated your taxes at the end of the year, you know what I'm talking about. You're like, but to have real-time tax estimates, especially once you have an overall sense of what the expenses are, this is a total game changer for anyone running a small business. Being able to invoice your clients for one place, send all the tax documents for your contractors. I panic at the end of every year. I think I do a good job. At the end of every year, I'm like, where's this one W-9 I lost? So it's so amazing to have all of this in one place. So so today we're going to, right here in a minute, we're going to do a demonstration of this online business banking platform called Found. And it is totally free, which is mind-blowing. Because yes, you can get the upgrade, and you can do your taxes through this and some other things that are paid, but what you need to run your business, and for most people, you're going to get everything you need done with this free version, is truly incredible. And you can use it both as a sole proprietor, or if you have an LLC or an S Corp. It is amazing because you can either do your taxes right through this, or invite your tax accountant to come in and like have all of the your business taxes taken care of there. It is really amazing. So, but it's this online platform. It's kind of it's a banking platform that integrates all of your bookkeeping, everything that you would have in like Quicken or something like that. All of your financial software is integrated. And what's amazing is that it's real-time tracking. I've never seen anything like this. And for someone who's been running a business for years, this is a total game changer. So today we have with us my colleague from the Found Business Banking. His name is Perry, and he's going to show you the gorgeous platform that they have, and the gorgeous tracking of deductions and how it all works, so you can get a sense. And again, this is totally free, and I am just so excited to be able to share that with you. So Perry, why don't you go ahead and turn on your camera?
Diane, thanks for the very warm introduction and for having me on.
Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. If I can figure out how to stop sharing. Why can I not stop sharing? But yeah, oh, there it is. There, go ahead. So yeah, show us this gorgeous platform. And I just love your dashboards, and you've got to show them how it calculates the tax deduction. That makes me so happy.
I love it. Yeah, and thanks so much for the insightful presentation thus far. You've covered a ton of ground, and I'm excited to dig in here. And I'll relay your feedback to our design team. They've spent a lot of time and thought thinking about how do we make banking delightful. So
It
you'll see a
really
couple
is. It
different
is
elements.
so beautiful. It makes me happy. We are like right brain people. We like pretty things.
Amazing. Can you see my screen?
Absolutely.
It says Hi Therapy at the
Yep.
top. Cool. So this is a sample account of a hypothetical private practice owner named Thea, Therapy Thea. And so I'll be using Thea's account to walk through Found's business banking platform, and also highlight a lot of the different embedded tools that cover things like bookkeeping, taxes, invoices, paying and managing contractors, that touch on a lot of the things that you've talked throughout today's presentation. Starting off, just diving right in, this first platform, which is the banking tab, is kind of the central nervous system, kind of the main snapshot of the money that's in your Found account. So as Diane mentioned, at its core, Found is a full-featured online bank account. We have a desktop experience. We also have a really sleek mobile app that a lot of folks like to use if they want to bank kind of from the palm of their hand. And so this banking platform can really do all the great things that any digital bank will allow you to do. So it's a great way to add money and hold your money, store your money. And so you can see all the different ways that you can add money by clicking add money here at the top. Things like direct deposit, bank wire transfers, cash and check deposit, and then also adding from popular other financial apps like Cash App and Venmo. It's also a really good place, like a bank account, to move money. So this is all the types of things that you're thinking about, whether you're paying yourself, and we'll talk a little bit about what that means internally within Found and how you can use that to kind of allocate money for different sides of your business. You can also send to yourself, say you want to pay yourself a personal salary into a personal account. You can link a personal bank account, link a debit card, and then you can also pay others. So paying contractors, we'll definitely spend some time talking about, because there are some of these tax obligations in terms of paperwork you need to file. But also paying another person or a business outside of contractors you can do through Found.
Yeah, and so for those in mental health, if you have an online platform like I do, you would just hook up your Stripe account and it would just, go right into this. So it all becomes seamlessly integrated.
Totally, totally. So on the banking tab here, you can see at the top your total balance. So that's all the money in your Found account. And the first feature that's maybe looks a little bit different than if you're using a traditional bank account is you'll see all these different categories with different kind of sub pools of money that Thea has set aside for different portions of her business or different savings goals. So I found we call these pockets. These are all this money is in the same bank account, but this allows you to essentially create separate categories or compartments so you can visually see how much money that you're setting aside for things like taxes, continuing education, a rainy day fund. And so this can be really powerful, not only because you can visually see it, but what you can also do is automatically set up a percentage of all income coming into your Found account to get set aside into each of these respective pockets. So to bring that concept to life, I'll double click into taxes. I know we've talked a lot about taxes throughout today, and there's kind of this fear as a business owner that, hey, I'm not setting aside enough money for taxes, and so come tax day, I'm not going to have enough money. We by default start every Found account with a primary pocket and a taxes pocket. And so if we click into the taxes pocket, you can see that I've had various invoices paid into my Found account. And I've actually set up a percentage of all that income to be automatically set aside and put in this taxes pocket. So this is still in my Found account, still in my bank account, but it's being set in a separate kind of sub compartment of money, so that I know that, okay, as my real-time tax estimate updates throughout the year, that I know kind of with confidence that I will have enough money to pay for each of those estimated quarterly tax dates. What exactly that percentage is, you can modify that throughout the year. So that's called a taxes allocation. And so Found has built in a feature where we offer you a smart percentage, where based off of information you've told us about, your business profile, your filing status, your estimated income. We can automatically adjust a smart percentage for your business.
And I just have
Um,
to say, that costs you $2,000 to have a human do. Like, that's incredible. That is incredible. That is amazing.
Totally. Yeah, yeah. It's the magic of software these days. This is an estimate, so like we realize there will be some reconciling come tax time of what you've paid in estimated taxes, and what you actually owe. But on the whole, this is a great way to make sure that directionally you're staying on top of those estimated tax bills. You can also set your own percentage if you think you know more about your tax situation and you want to dial in your own percentage, or you can set no percentage and you can always manually transfer money into the taxes pocket or any of these other pockets from your primary pocket. Beyond primary, where you're getting all of your deposits and taxes, you'll see that Thea has used pockets to save up money for a variety of different goals or budget for different parts of her business. So she's decided she wants to actually see how much money she's setting aside for her personal salary. So she's done that with a pocket. Continuing education, she realized that's a common expense for therapists, and so she set some money there. And then per Diane, she also wants to be saving for a rainy day fund, for emergency fund, and so she's starting to make some really good progress in the rainy day fund. And so I think when it comes down to like the mistake of not having a budget and not having a budget based off of this concept of cash flow of like making sure you're not spending more than that's coming in the door, this can be really powerful, and that you can ensure by managing your pockets and setting up different deposit allocations. That's saying like, great, $1,000 comes in immediately. I set aside money for taxes using found smart percentage, and then I can toggle. Hey, I want to be spending or I want to be setting aside 35% of the remaining balance to go to my salary, 5% to continuing education, 10% to rainy day, and the rest will go into that primary pool. Diane, I think it looked like you were about to jump in. Did you have a commentary there?
Could you go back to the main pocket screen?
Yeah.
This is where you go back to one more to the where you saw that. So this is what I think psychologically is so powerful, because there's $30,000 in that account, right? But when you look in, you don't see 30,000. Oh, I feel like I need a vacation. I'm going on a trip, because you
Yeah.
can see that 8,000 is in taxes. I got to pay 11,000 to myself. Continuing ed. Oh yeah, the rainy day. So this person actually has 3739 of money that's not allocated. And I think this is where like Krista was asking, do we have this for personal banking accounts? This is the only time I've ever seen this. But
Yeah.
psychologically, this is going to be a game changer in terms of helping people understand their cash flow, making sure they are saving for retirement or the rainy day fund, that sort of thing. And so psychologically, you can just look at this and say, you're not going on a $10,000 trip there's only
Yeah.
37 that's not allocated. And that is going to help so many people.
Definitely. And we put a lot of thought. It's great to hear that's had that effect on you. We put a lot of thought into the design to the point where you can customize things like colors and icons. The rainy day fund has a nice cute umbrella next to it. And so yeah, any opportunity to make banking joyful and kind of put you at ease and it like almost incentivize you to have that weekly date every week versus making you
Yeah,
dread looking at a clunky banking app is a success.
totally. Compared to what I've been doing all these years, this is gorgeous. So why don't you keep going and show them some of these other cool features.
Definitely. So I'll click through a couple of these tabs on the left. I just briefly want to touch on cards. We're a business bank account. We mail you a physical debit card, but we also give you the ability to set up various virtual cards. So currently I don't have any virtual cards set up, but I can easily create one here. And the nice thing about this is a separate card that you can even link to it separate pockets. And so this is great for kind of controlling expenses related to certain parts of your business. For say, back to this banking tab, I could create a card for continuing a virtual card for continuing education that I can use online. I can set a spend limit to ensure that, hey, I'm not spending more than I've set aside for continuing education. And so it's another kind of tool in your toolkit as you're thinking about how do I manage income and expenses across the various aspects of my business. Taxes, the big T word. You'll see this is a great kind of deep dive into the taxes portion of your business, and it works really nicely in conjunction with the activity tab, which we'll talk about in a second. So I can see the amount of money I've set aside for taxes. Currently, my tax estimate is a bit higher than that based off of some internal transfers of monies I've done with the dummy account, but I can always either add more money to the taxes account. And you'll see as we go to the next tab that this tax estimate will actually update and actually decrease in real time as I categorize expenses as part of the activity log, which is, yeah, you were alluding to it earlier today, but it's that kind of that dopamine hit as you're doing expense management, which is a sentence folks don't often say. We also have the ability for Schedule C filers to file their taxes through the app, and so they can do so. We'll talk a little bit about Found Plus, our premium subscription, and what's included in free versus Found Plus, but they can do so for free if they have the Found Plus annual plan. Really powerful. Click Start Filing. It'll securely share your data with our partner and allow you to complete your taxes very seamlessly. So this is where it gets really interesting. Thus far, this has been a bank account. It's had different ways of budgeting, different virtual cards. The activity tab is where it kind of all starts to come together. This is where a lot of what we've been calling bookkeeping, expense management, this is where a lot of that magic happens. And so at face value, this looks like maybe a bank statement or a credit card statement. It has, you can see various income. So income from a client here, an invoice from a client here. It has various expenses, some of which have been categorized. So Psychology Today subscription has been categorized as software and subscriptions. It has some contractor payments. So I've paid the contractors Psychology, as well as Carl Jung, frequent collaborators with me, as well as you can see here that Apple. I went to the Apple store and bought an iPad for $699, and it needs a category. And so this is where things get interesting. I can click needs category. I don't see the business category here, but essentially what I can do then is go to more. We built a library of tax deductible expense categories. So this was Apple, so I'll search for computer. Great, computer equipment is a category, and then there it is. I saved an estimate $190.21, and I see Diane sharing. Yeah, hooray for tax savings!
I love it.
Isn't we can go.
I just love that tax savings column. It like makes it all make sense. And it's happy. Don't you feel like you feel good, right? It makes you want to go categorize everything because you get this huge positive reinforcement. Yes.
Totally.
Yeah.
And you can see here when we go back to the taxes estimate that now that's gone down because, as you were alluding to in your intro to taxes earlier, your taxable income's gone down. Therefore, the estimate they have to pay has gone down.
Oh, there's a comment that Justin's saying, it feels like QuickBooks and Chase had a baby. I know, it's incredible. we had so many software things to make all this happen. And what's incredible is that you can sign up for this and get it for free. This is just incredible.
Yeah, definitely. And don't worry, there's more. I don't want to sound like an infomercial salesperson, by the way. I do really believe that we built a lot of bells and whistles here based off of feedback from the tens of thousands of small businesses that we've worked with. And so I know we're speeding along on time, so I'll keep flipping through here. Where activity was transaction level, we also do have a reports tab, which does reporting at the aggregate. And so this is as you're setting goals and checking on your progress towards those goals. This is a really helpful way to look at things like where's all my income coming from. If you have different sources of income, it'll break it down. Similarly, where is all my expenses? What's the breakdown of my expenses? So, wow, I've actually spent a lot. Of all my categorized expenses, 59.8 of those were from computer equipment, and it'll break down kind of from there. And then profit and loss, you'll see this, month on month, and you can adjust the time period here to get kind of that bird's eye view, aggregate view of the money coming in, the money going out, and what that means in terms of your path to profitability. Invoices was something you talked about, Diane, about making sure that you're being consistent and professional with your invoices and that you're following up. And so we've built a really sleek invoicing experience that also functions almost like a lightweight content management. You can see I have various business contacts here kind of embedded into the platform. And that's helpful both for when I'm sending invoices to other small businesses or other people or even other clients that are not using Found, as well as if I'm paying contractors, which we'll talk about in just a second. So to create an invoice, really simple. I want to send an invoice to Brenda Jane. This was a session, so I'll keep invoice anonymous. It was $150. And then you can see there's a lot of customization opportunities here. I can add a discount. There's a variety of different methods that I can accept. If they're a Found user, they can pay free instantaneously through Found. We've also integrated with Stripe, as you're talking about, and so they can through that integration pay credit, debit card, direct debit, Cash App. And then similarly, you can set payment reminders. So this is one where you don't want there to be outstanding invoices, and so you can check by default 3 days after the due date, 7 days after the due date, to send them reminders. And then lastly, scheduling these if they want to send this immediately on a certain date. And then also, what are the payment terms here? Is this due a week after receipt, 2 weeks, a month, or a custom due date? And so just quickly what that looks like, you can see a preview of what your client will see. Really simple, really sleek. You can customize things like colors here, and then you can press send and send that without even leaving your banking app. And then lastly, I want to talk about the contractor management piece. We talked a little bit about, if you're hiring a virtual assistant or other short-term, contractors, that not only do you need to pay them, but there's also tax paperwork that you need to be asking for and giving them every year as part of that relationship. And so here you can see these are the various contractors that are currently that are currently kind of in my contractor contact book. If I want to add a new contractor, I can do so here, and it'll automatically start pulling up who are the most recent contacts you've been working with through Found. Most of these are already flagged as contractors, but Brenda Jane, I'm going to actually add, she's a contact, but I want to add her as a contractor because she's someone I'm paying. And then so immediately what I can do is send what we call a new contractor packet, which will request their W-9 information. So this is what you alluded to a bit, Diane, but when you're paying a new contractor, you need them to fill out a W-9. Over $600, they need to fill out a W-9 with their taxpayer ID information. And then you'll then use the personal and tax information from that W-9 to then populate that 1099 NEC to report that income and send that to your contractor at the end of the year. So fortunately, we've made that really easy to do in this contractor management tab. So you have the list of contractor profiles. You can also see, great, I've actually paid Carl $650, which is over the $600 threshold. And so I should be issuing him a 1099 at the end of the tax year. And so to do that, I can go to the contractor tax forms, click Carl Jung, and you'll see there's an already kind of like real-time updated 1099 NEC for Carl Jung. He needs some more information because he has not returned that W-9 form to me. And so I can request that W-9 form from him, or I can add that information manually. And then come January, when I need to send these 1099s, I can do so quickly and seamlessly through Found. So no more running after. Similarly, no more shoebox full of receipts for the expense management piece. Similarly, no more running around trying to like print 1099 forms and emailing your contractors to get them to send the W-9. It can all be done through this contractors tab.
Which it really is a huge win for those of us who've had to issue those before. So we're getting a bunch of questions coming in. So do we want to take some of that? What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good. The last just like 1 minute plug I'll say is
Please.
The toolkit tab. There's a few other featured offers that are not offered by Found, but we've vetted and established partnerships with other providers to help you if you want to get an EIN, if you want to get an LLC, find the right business insurance coverage, etc. And so I encourage us folks sign up for this and poke around, that they also explore that tab.
Awesome. So we've had several questions as to whether or not this is available internationally. Do you want to handle that question?
Great question. Yeah, so I should have said that at the top. This is right now focused on U.S. focused businesses only because it's built for U.S. tax implications and all that stuff. So we'll definitely let folks know if that expands, but for now it's the U.S.
Yeah. And we did have a question. I'm going to answer this one about whether or not managing a private practice applies to associate MFTs. It really depends on your state. So the different states have different laws. So you're going to have to look at your local laws. Someone else asked if hiring a tax consultant, legal consultation, etc., counts as a contracted employee. Again, you're probably going to work with your CPA, but typically it's more like the virtual assistant who would be working in your practice rather than your CPA. I don't do a 1099. Yeah. I don't know if you have a better answer for that, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a better answer than that, but I think that's a good way of gut checking it. Um, I see a question here from Justin about, which I think covers some of the other ones around like linking other platforms. So Justin
Yes.
says like my account has a routing number and account number. I assume you can just link it any other way that links by way of routing account number. Exactly right, Justin. Yeah. So this is a bank account. It has a routing number, account number. So if you want to set up direct deposit, or you want to link to other accounts to transfer money in, you can do so using those two numbers, which I think covers a couple of the other questions up there.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you. Heidi's asking, I'm guessing it's not possible for the smart tax percentage tax estimates to take into account the rest of the household income if you're filing jointly.
That's a good question. I can take that back to the team. I believe I think one of the inputs that goes into the smart taxing, you'll be including information about, your filing status, is it single or joint? What is the estimated income? And so I can make a note of that to
Wow.
follow up with the team on
Wow.
exactly how you would handle edge cases of like full household income and how that would impact that. But worst case scenario, you could always try use it as an
Man.
estimate or try the manual percentage.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. Someone's asking, this is a great question. What would be the best way to deal with privacy confidentiality issues of the platform sending invoices to clients? So that's a great question. So as a mental
Mm,
health provider, you'd have to put it in your informed consent that you are allowed to use via email, that you will use email to send the invoices. So that you would just add that as a line that they're agreeing if they don't pay, in session, that they are agreeing to have invoices sent, and have them write the specific email that they want via email. So that's how you would handle that. But I would just build it into the informed consent. You can pay in person every time you come, but if you don't bring your check or whatever, your credit card, you will be invoiced, and that will be to this email, and you're consenting to that at the beginning of treatment. Great question. I think we answered all these deposits to retirement accounts. Yeah, there are a lot of these. What can you link? I assume you can integrate this into an EFS. I don't even know what an EFS is. Do you know what an EFS is? An
yeah.
EHR is an electronic health record, where what you would do with those, all of those, something like a therapy notes or simple practice or counsel, all of those, they typically are using Stripe or someone to run those credit cards. And so you would just use Stripe to deposit those straight into that account. Krista says, I usually charge as I go before I give the service. Is there a way to do that? And yeah, you could just send the invoice out if you would like. But before the session, if that's how you charge before you go. I think you answered. Why don't you go over this one? Does it offer reports like profit and loss, balance sheets, account transactions, general ledger?
It it does, yeah. So on the reports tab, it'll give you profit and loss. And so I mean, this is I can show that again, but this will pull and aggregate information from the activity log and generate the profit and loss. In terms of and this is a sample account, so it has a little bit of data. You'll obviously have months of data. In terms of balance sheet and account transactions, general ledger, currently we don't support that, but we've heard that feedback and are aware of it.
Awesome. Someone's asking about the client information from Simple Practice for the invoicing. You will probably have to copy their email over from your electronic health platform into their software. They're not going, and you don't want HIPAA compliant information getting sucked into anything. You can't do that. So you're going to have to be the one who copies and pastes it if you have it in your informed consent that you can do that. So awesome. Any other questions, folks? Oh, there are more questions. Oh, there was a question about some kind of retirement plan I've never heard of. The KEOGH plan HR 10?
Mm,
I can't speak to that. I don't know. Justin, if you have any comments on this.
I don't know.
Awesome.
One thing I'll say, I know we're a few minutes over. We talked a lot about like free, this is great to use, and the bulk of what we just walked through is free. So all the banking, pockets, expense management, tax estimates, all of that is free. We do have a premium subscription as well if folks think that meets the needs of their business. And so I encourage folks to go to found.com/plans to see exactly what's in each. At a high level, it's kind of advanced expense management if you want like unlimited custom rules in the activity tab. If you want to be earning interest on balance, and if you want to be filing your taxes for free through the app, that's all part of the paid plan. But as Diane mentioned, with a lot of our users, the core banking, bookkeeping, taxes as part of the free version is more than enough to cover what they need.
Yeah, it's
And the good news
really,
is you don't need to walk into a bank branch here. You can sign up in a few minutes. It's free to sign up. So I really encourage folks. I think Diane has a unique link that she can put on the screen.
oh yeah, we
Really,
haven't put that in, did we?
folks to sign up to this unique link, and then I think this will also be in the email with the recording after the fact. Check it out. This doesn't
Yeah,
have to be a painful process of like ripping out all of the different solutions and processes you currently have. You can do this incrementally, understand, would this actually make sense for me? Add a little bit of money, see that dopamine rush when you categorize expenses. And then over time, our hope is that Found's kind of the mainstay in that weekly date you have with your money.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, so we just put a link to go find that in the chat. So please, yeah, feel free to use that link. Yeah, good to see everyone here today. Thank you, Elif. Welcome from New Zealand. Hopefully, one of these days, Found will make their way a little more globally. But hopefully, at least inspires you wherever you are in the globe. Hopefully, you have a much better sense wherever you are in your career of like what it means to have a private practice, how the money moves, what's required, that sort of thing. So I have some folks who have their hands raised, but if you can put your chat, your question in the chat, we will hang out for a few more minutes and take some questions. But yes, you can definitely go ahead and there's a link here. Like I said, I'm putting it in the chat where you can check it out. Thank you, everyone. But hopefully, yeah, everyone's got a good sense and of what is entailed in starting a private practice and all that. Oh, why make it free? That's the way a lot of things. Well, you want to answer that? But that's
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, we're a small business first. We also are a business, and so we need to be making money. And so, similar to how other banking providers make money on when you swipe a card, we have the merchant pays a percentage of that transaction. There's obviously the paid subscription. So we felt we struck a really nice balance where we're building and growing a profitable business that's also delivering outsized value for small businesses at little to no cost. But yeah, really good question. A lot of
yeah.
people see free and their eyebrows go up.
Yeah, and those of you who've known me and taken some of my business classes, I work from a business model. I give 10 to 20% of what I do for free to make the planet a better place. And this is the first company I've partnered with because I think they have a very similar philosophy. They are giving something of high value away for free. And if you love it, you will end up doing more business with them. And I think that's kind of a very common 21st century model where you try it out, see, you can come take a class with me, see if you like it. And if you like it, a certain percentage of you will continue to pay to learn with me. And the same with Found. I think you're going to find this is just an incredible high quality platform that just makes dealing with money beautiful and easy. And it has so much psychologically, so much positive reinforcement. It makes me so happy. I do think you all should have personal banking accounts. That's good. That's where I recommend you guys expand to, because so many of us, we just aren't motivated to save because it uses willpower and we only have so much willpower, right? And so this actually totally incentivizes really healthy financial habits, which I think is just psychologically necessary. I have several courses on, 86% of people are psychologically stressed out about money, whether you're a billionaire or you are, in poverty, live in poverty. The whole spectrum of society, most of us, our biggest stress is money. No matter how much you have, it's the biggest stress. And to have something like this that just uses positive reinforcement, makes it fun to be financially responsible, I just think this is incredible. And so I think this is psychologically the future of finance or financial daily management for individuals. Awesome. Woohoo! Angie just sharing she got her a scholarship for an EFT externship. Congratulations. That's another way to save some money. I love it. So I'm hopefully you all are feeling empowered financially, and that you can check out this found, and hopefully you yeah, check it out. It's free. You can even just check it out, poke around, and hopefully this has got you're leaving today with some great ideas, tools, and resources for really moving your financial life, especially your business financial life, in a positive direction. Oh, I see one other question. If I'm working as a 1099 contractor for someone else's practice, I still have to pay self-employment, but don't have my own private practice, I could still set this up. Yeah, you can still set this up, Joy. They're not going to micromanage you. Yes, you can use this however you want to. I mean, even if you're still an associate, you don't legally have your own business, you still can write off, even as a graduate student, you can write off your professional expenses. And so you can still get started with this now to write off your expenses. So definitely at any phase, you don't have to own a private practice. Private practitioners are the most likely to use this, but even a grad student with educational expenses can use this account. They don't have to be a small business. It's still like this is their professional expenses, right? Or not?
Theoretically, yeah, we'd encourage folks to like use this for like even if it's just a side hustle to
Yeah.
make it like business income and
Yep.
expenses, because it's purpose built for that. But yeah, I know that sometimes the lines blur, particularly if you're a sole prop.
Okay, so that someone was saying the link wasn't working. So let's go ahead and see if that's a hot link, because yeah,
There you
try
go.
that hot link. So let me try this. Yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, excellent. Um, okay. Hopefully that link works better. Sorry that link wasn't working, folks. There you go. We'll use that one instead.
Perfect. Yeah, and then we can send out an email with the
Yes.
recording as well.
Okay. Cool. Well, everyone, thank you so much. I think we got all the questions now at this point. Oh, yeah, Krista had to get it, had to type it in, but this hot link is working because I was not pasting a hot link was the problem. So I apologize. Oh, I see how it wasn't really a hot link. I see that. Let me see if I can make it a hot link. No, oh, I see what was wrong with it. We didn't have the HTTPS. Okay, here we go. Now let's try this. Aha, I think I got it now. We got it. Awesome. So here's the pretty looking link. Try that one. That's pretty and it's hot. There we go. I think that came out a little wrong, but yes, that's working now. Awesome, everyone. Well, okay, thank you, thank you. I'm glad we got the link working, and awesome. Yeah, we got this link working. Okay. I'm so glad this was useful to so many of you, and you'll get the handouts and a recording of all of this, and hopefully this gets you started in a really important part of doing our business. I know we help so many other people, and many of us were really quick to not take care of ourselves, and I think really taking care of ourselves financially is so important to doing this work well. Like if you're sitting there doing 8 hours back-to-back client sessions, and you come home and your finances are a mess, you're going to be so much more stressed in your personal life. And we need to take care of ourselves, and taking care of ourselves financially is okay. And it's an important part of doing this work. And I know for so many of us, we're givers. And so it's this financial piece becomes emotionally a struggle for us. And so please take care of yourselves financially. And I'm just so happy to share this cool tool with you, and wish you all the best. Okay. Thank
Thank
you,
you, Diane.
guys. Be well.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
Terry, for showing up and giving us a tour. Thanks so much.
Good day.
Okay. Bye-bye.